Thank you so much for being here. As you're settling into this nice, tall spine, find a little bit of extra height. Think of the crown of your head lifting. Maybe if you're rounding forward slightly, you open the chest and lean back just slightly. And even as you're sitting tall and proud, just find some ease in that posture. So making it a little less rigid, you might bend your elbows slightly more, softening hands, softening the face. And start to focus on your breathing. Notice each breath moving in and out of the body. Notice how the inhales fill your lungs, fill your belly. That settling and grounding, contracting that can occurs on the exhale. Maybe bring your awareness a little deeper into the belly, to the diaphragm. Even keeping the breath fairly easy and smooth. It's not a big forceful ujjayi breath like we might practice in a flow. But we're using that diaphragm nonetheless. Feeling that lengthening and contracting of that muscle. You can even almost feel the diaphragm moving down when you breathe in as the chest rises up. Subtle, but we can tune into it. And then moving back up as we breathe in, breathe out. Let's just take a few more. Another round with this step. Keep the breath flowing nice and smoothly. It goes to a more natural rhythm. If you really got pretty deep as you were focused, And you might at this point want to switch the crossing of your legs. We'll be seated for just a little bit more here. So go ahead and shift and move the shoulders, kind of roll forward. You open the chest out, arms can stretch open as well. Maybe you find a bit of twisting by the side. While we're here seated, we're going to do a little exercise with regard to our fascia system, our web of connective tissue that encases the whole musculature of our body. And this fascia, when it gets tight and dehydrated, that attributes to a lot of the stiffness that we feel, that we might think is in our muscles, but it's partly due to this connective tissue. So what I want you to do, sitting up tall, whether your eyes are closed or open, doesn't matter. Or actually, no, we take that back. We need to have our gaze for this little exercise. So let's turn the head in both directions and flicker the eyes open. See your range of motion, both sides, where you can, how far you can turn your head, basically. Not with any judgment here, but just noticing which side you got a little less range of motion. So for me, I can definitely notice the difference that my left side, I can turn my head a little less. So I'm going to start on my left side. And so the thing with our fascial chain, it's all connected, runs from our heel, the bottom of the heel, up through the entire side of the body. So in the neck where we get tight, there is a fascial line that connects the thumb up through the arm to that little space behind the ear and into our neck here. So on the side where you felt tighter, just start to massage your thumb on that side. You know, it sounds a little odd, but that's yoga for you, right? So really get into that thumb, down at the thumb pad, the length of the thumb, and then into the heel of the hand. Don't be shy. Get in there, don't hurt yourself, but can be a little firm. And after sending a little bit here in the thumb, it feels pretty good in massage, we're going to move up to this ear. So starting down at the base of the lobe here, where your lobe connects to your neck. You feel that connective tissue in here. And again, don't be shy. And then you can start to go along the cartilage here, behind the ear, and then a little down behind the jaw and into the neck. And give it a little time here. Personally, I haven't had a massage in so long. It feels pretty good, even though I'm doing the work myself. Once you are finished, then let's try again turning your head. See if you remember where your gaze fell. Maybe you get a little more range of motion there. Maybe it just feels slightly better. And then let's take the other side, because we don't want to leave that side out. So start with your thumb, heel of the hand. This is called a myofascial release. There's a lot of ways we can do this. Some of them involve rollers, foam rollers, tennis balls, but we can use our two hands as well. which is pretty handy. This is something you could do at your desk at work if you're feeling a little cranky in the neck. It's just amazing how we always hear that everything's connected, but something so seemingly disconnected from one area of the body to the other really can make a difference. So then move up to your ear when you're ready on your less tight side. So our yin practice, it doesn't directly deal in the fascia. However, the stretching of our fascial tissue is a nice byproduct of this practice. So it's always kind of lumped in there when we talk about it as yoga teachers. It's not always what we're directly stretching, but because it connects so much, it ends up being a part of the experience. So then we can turn the head again, taking a twist. Good, and then come back around to center. Opportunity to switch those legs again. I know we've been here for a bit. We're moving on quickly, I promise. And sweep the arms up here before we go anywhere. Interlace those hands. Reach up, reach tall. And on your exhale, round back. Come up and over the sit bones. Really round your spine back. Been sitting up for a while. So release the spine, round it, check your chin. Take a couple breaths here. And go ahead and release. And let's come to our hands and our knees. When you're ready, make that transition. You can always place your blanket under your knees. My yoga blanket that's always in this room is currently involved in a fort in my son's room. So I'll go without it today, but don't be afraid to use it. Let's continue some movement here, moving through a few rounds of cat and cow, breathing in as you dip the belly and flex the spine. And finding that extension, pressing away for cat pose. Finding again that nice rounding. Just moving with your breath. And of course, you're welcome to add the hips into the mix if they're a little tight or in need of motion after sitting. And let's reset in neutral table. Once you are evened out with your motion, and on a breath in, let's lift the right arm way up high. Really breathing it open. On the exhale, reach the arm underneath the body. Bring that right ear down to the mat, threading the needle. Twist of the spine here and opening through the shoulder joint. Left fingertips might walk forward. You can also wrap that arm behind your back. Breathe here. Just a note on the feet in this posture. It's not something we often focus on in the pose, but My feet end up drifting out of that parallel alignment just because it's hard to keep that in the right foot in particular. So just let your feet be natural so that the legs can find a little more relaxation. Few more breaths. Slide that left hand back if it moved. Resting into your palm. We'll lift up, reaching up, stretching out. And circle that arm back around and down to your tabletop. Resetting any way you need to. And next, the left arm will rise up, filling up with air. And exhale as you thread. Notice how you feel as you breathe in this posture. Notice when you really tune into your breath, how the thoughts, the chatter, the mind just start to fall away, even if not entirely. Just tuning into that basic, it's so essential function of breath. Takes us right into our body and out of that sometimes incessant cycling of thoughts. Take a couple more nice deep breaths. To center your right hand if it moves, and we'll press on up. Big breath, reaching. And coming down on your exhale. Drop the hips back into a child's pose, and provided that it works for your spine, let the knees come wide to start to open into the hips. Feel your breath moving into your back body here. Feeling the expansion of the back ribs as you breathe in. this last handful of breaths before we move out of this pose. If you'd like to roll your forehead on the mat, temple to temple, go as slowly as you want. Realize I was kind of going quickly there, but feel free to linger side to side. And when you're ready, let's lift back up to all fours. You are more than welcome to briefly lift up to a downward facing dog to stretch the backs of your legs if that would be beneficial. For this next set of postures, you may want to have blocks or something for under your hands on either side of the mat. Maybe not. Having them there just in case. And perhaps a bolster or pillow or blanket for under your hip. So resetting from all fours here. You can, in fact, come for the blocks straight away if you would like. We'll step the right foot up in between your hands or your blocks to create a low lunge, a dragon pose, as we refer to it in practice. So important to stack this knee joint over the ankle joint for stability and mostly of the knee. Just over time, extending past can really start to wear on that joint and some of the connective tissue. So scoot your foot up, scoot your left knee back to deepen into it. And from here, there's a lot of different places you can stay right here, feeling a bunch in your hips already, then I invite you to stay until you're needing to feel more. If it's too much, having the hands down, you can come up a little higher, placing the hands on your right thigh, taking a little duct out of that lunge. And then another spot we can go to widen my foot out, the right foot for this variation, coming to the inside, and possibly maybe we lower down to elbows. Blocks are really good here if you're somewhere between those straight arms and your elbows. We're stretching both hip joints here in different ways. We've got the hip flexors going on, present and accounted for over on the left side. As well as our hip extensors over here on the right. So we'll experience different sensation on both sides of the body and from one side of this posture to the next. Just notice what's coming up without any assignment of good or bad or anything. But just noticing what is. focusing in on the breath, especially if the sensation is getting to be a lot, using your breath. Couple more rounds here. If you came down to your elbows, your step is coming back up to the straight arms and gently start to ease out of the hips a bit here. It might feel good to extend the right leg. Blocks are handy here too for a nice little easy half split. Maybe not easy. You guys know I don't like that word. If there's some other way your body would like to release that posture, please go for it. We're going to stick with the right side for our next pose, coming into a swan. So my right foot's toe heeling its way across the mat. My knee and shin come down. If this is a little uncomfortable or too much in your knees in particular, please feel free to go onto your back and take a figure four. This is where I need that blanket that's involved in a fort right now to stick under my hip. So if you've got some space under your hip, especially if you've got a lot of space under your hip, a block can help support the body, blanket, a pillow. And we can also use some props out here in front of us too. So it's always good to have a nice arsenal of props surrounding your mat. So once you've found some levelness and support in the hips, we can come down either to elbows, maybe forehead comes down to a prop or all the way down. Keeping the chest supported here, and really free of your shoulders a bit. So you might even give them a little roll up and back to try to erase any tension there. Notice anywhere you might be gripping, now that you're settled in. Start to bring your palms underneath the shoulders and press up. Starting to feel that little rebound as you come out carefully. Either easing onto the right side, or you might tuck your back toes, come into a three-legged dog or three-legged tabletop. Stretching that right leg behind you. In some fashion, circling it out. Just following your body. And without any rush, we'll set up for side 2. Coming for my blocks again, underneath the hands to give some space as I step the left foot forward, swinging my right knee back. Knee over ankle. Taking care of those knee joints. Taking care of all our joints. Some are just a little more sensitive, more prone to stuff happening, especially over time if we repetitively practice a yoga pose or something the same way over and over again. So you can come up here, just reminders of your options. You can stay just as you landed, or quick to come to the inside, widening that foot out just slightly to give your hands and your torso a little space. And maybe you come down to the elbows. It's okay if it doesn't look exactly the same on the right and left side. We practice yoga in general. This practice of asana, which is the physical postures, and our pranayama, our energetic breath practice. We are moving energy through the body. Energy that might be blocked in certain places, certain channels. The moving energy. Tune into not only your breathing, but what you are feeling, what you're experiencing. There's warmth in places. There's a lot of sensation somewhere, maybe no sensation somewhere you expected. Hopefully with that movement of energy, we clear blockages, get things moving a little more smoothly, and find space. to ascend back up to straight lines. Carefully easing out of those hips. Circulate carefully and moving back to that half split or some other counter pose. When you're ready for it, we'll set up our swan on the other side. Sitting down to your back. Your knee or knees on the side are not dig in this posture, or your hips for that matter. It's usually a pulling in that knee joint. An indicator that the little different version. Bridging any space underneath that left hip, left glute, and coming into that sleeping swan if and when you are ready. And bringing that awareness to your shoulders if they're unintentionally hunching or gripping. And sending that softening down the length of your back. Into your pelvic girdle, trying to relax those hips even as we're doing some deep work here. And softening down your legs and the length of your arms as well, and the feet. Last few breaths here. Notice how you're feeling, where you've gone with the posture. Start to draw your torso up. Out on the left side. Finding our way to that counter pose or movement that you took on the other side. Take this to seated. As you are ready to go there, and we'll set up for a wide-legged forward fold. I like to scoot back just so my heels are supported by the mat. If you're on a hard floor, if you're on carpet, you're probably okay either way. And any props you might have around, just have them available that you might be able to use them in our forward fold here. So we heard this term this week and I chuckled, but it's also a pretty cool prop setup. Creating a Stonehenge with blocks and a pillow or bolster. So you can really create some height here with a combo of props. And of course this bolster is kind of roly-poly, but give yourself a little height here. And then once you're ready, we can walk forward. You're gonna keep nice and grounded through your sit bones. A little micro bend in the knees. Try not to lock those knees out. And of course, with your wide legs, if you're really straining and forcing to get some width there, try not to do that. Just give your heels a little shimmy in so you can still experience sensation, but not be really tense and trying to keep that opening of the legs. Let your arms be comfortable. It's okay to shift and adjust as you find your way in. My spine is nice and rounded here. Creating a nice stretch between the vertebrae. And similar to our child's pose, as you deepen into your breath, you can really feel all that connectivity between your vertebrae, your spine, and your rib cage as everything expands out and then contracts in. And as you continue breathing here, you might find you can ease in a little deeper. If not, it's okay. Just work where you're at. Take a couple breaths more. Deep breath in. And as you breathe out, press your way up to a tall spine. We'll keep the legs just for a moment. I'm going to take one block to the outside of my right shin and placing my right hand on that block, lift the left arm up and over, arcing. Getting into the side body a little bit here, and you might even move that block or whatever prop up to really rest the forearm there. Left sit bone nice and grounded. Take another full round. And come on up. And we'll just switch sides with the block. Reaching up with the right arm this time, getting long in the torso. And reaching up and over. Much like our neck earlier on, I feel a difference from one side to the other here in the side bodies. That right sitting bone is lifting up. Just come back a little bit out of your side bend. And we'll lift up out of this. Let those legs release. Let them bend. Take a windshield wipe. After that forward bend, you would like a little reverse table or plank. Allow yourself to come down when you're set. And come all the way down to your back. Knees drawing in. For these last few moments of our practice, we'll leave it to you as the foremost guide of your yoga practice here on your mat. So if there's something you need that I have not given, just take that time and when your practice feels complete, find your way into your Shavasana. When you get into that last pose, whether it's now or a few minutes from now, you might use something behind your knees, behind your head or your neck. Maybe you place a towel or something over your eyes. Maybe further blocking out external stimuli for these last few moments. there's anywhere you're still holding in the body, try your best to let that go. Notice your facial muscles, your hands and your feet. Maybe within your abdomen. Places we might hold some tension. Letting go. Only when you're ready for it, start to deepen back into your breath. And the same way that we went into the practice. So allow yourself to follow 2 or 3 rounds of breath in their entirety. Moving throughout your body, in and out. The awareness back in the body, start to move in small ways, your hands and your feet. Your head rolls a bit side to side. And you might either curl up on one side or stretch out in a full body stretch. Maybe some of each. Take what you need on your way to a seated position without any rush. And once you are sitting up tall, let's open the arms, open the chest, palms facing up. Take a breath in as you lift your arms high, lifting your gaze with it, even with eyes closed, hands coming together, and exhaling as your thumbs trace a line right down to your heart center. Bowing the chin into the chest with honor, with love, with gratitude, with light. We stay together. Namaste. Thank you all. You boys come in. My babies just got home. Here they are. I talk about them a lot during class. Can you say hi? Hi.
Look at those sweet kiddos. Oh.
It was perfect timing, and I heard that garage door. So here they are.
Oh.
Nico, and this is Aiden. So thank you guys for coming tonight.
Good night. Have a good evening.
Thank you, you too.
Bye.
We're gonna go eat some pizza now.
Yum.